Most people assume they can reliably identify their feelings, yet neuroscientists have uncovered a strange phenomenon. The human brain often mistakes anxiety for excitement because both states activate nearly identical autonomic signatures. In experiments using high-resolution heart rate variability sensors, volunteers convinced they were nervous during cognitive tests actually displayed physiological markers closer to early-stage exhilaration. This mismatch occurs in the anterior insula, where emotional predictions are generated milliseconds before conscious awareness, meaning your brain often labels first and understands later, and sometimes the label is flat-out wrong. Researchers studying interoception, the sense of internal bodily signals, found that most adults misinterpret subtle shifts in heart rhythm. A slight increase in cardiac contractility triggered by coffee or ambient noise is frequently mistaken for dread. Brain imaging work shows that this error stems from outdated survival circuits still wired for threat detection. The system fires an alert, but modern environments rarely provide real danger, so the mind fills the gap with confused narratives. I'm stressed, I'm uneasy, something is wrong, even when nothing in the surroundings justifies that reaction. A stunning discovery from effective neuroscience indicates that many people confuse anger with fear because both states elevate cortisol and narrow attentional focus. During real-time fMRI studies, participants reporting irritation showed amygdala activation patterns indistinguishable from individuals exposed to controlled threat cues. This suggests that what you interpret as irritation during social interactions may actually be a primitive defensive mechanism misread as aggression, an illusion created by your brain's rapid-fire emotional shortcuts. Psychologists investigating microexpressions uncovered that humans routinely misread microsadness as boredom. High-speed cameras capturing facial movements at 200 frames per second revealed that downward eye movements and slowed blink rates, traditionally believed to signal disinterest, more accurately correspond to low-level emotional fatigue. Most people never recognize this nuance, leading them to assume others are detached when, in reality, those individuals are quietly overwhelmed. One of the most counterintuitive findings comes from respiratory psychophysiology. A shallow breath taken in a noisy environment often gets interpreted by the brain as a sign of fear, even though it may simply be a response to environmental carbon dioxide fluctuation or temperature change. Tiny shifts in CO2 influence chemoreceptors in ways that mimic anxiety physiology. As a result, the brain fabricates an emotional explanation because it refuses to accept a bodily change without attaching a story to it. Researchers working with large-scale behavioral datasets discovered that many individuals confuse loneliness with tiredness. User patterns on digital platforms show a consistent trend. People reporting evening fatigue often display activity signatures associated with social disconnection, long pauses between messages, slow reaction times, and increased nighttime browsing. Follow-up surveys verified that subjects believed they were tired, while physiological markers such as nighttime cortisol spikes pointed toward unmet social needs rather than genuine exhaustion. Advanced neuroendocrine research has revealed how easily joy gets mistaken for relief. When a stressful event ends abruptly, the rapid drop in sympathetic activity feels eerily similar to the warm sensation triggered by authentic happiness. Both states produce a mild endorphin rebound. This means that what you consider happiness, after finishing a task or escaping an awkward interaction, may actually be nothing more than your nervous system decompressing after tension, not a true positive emotion. In social psychology labs, experiments using controlled temperature variation demonstrated another surprising confusion. Humans misread physiological cold as emotional detachment. Lower skin temperature activates pathways typically involved in social withdrawal, prompting individuals to interpret chilly environments as interpersonal distance. Participants consistently rated strangers as unfriendly in rooms that were only 2 degrees cooler, even when the strangers displayed neutral or supportive behavior. Emotion coding specialists analyzing real-world body language discovered that people often mistake anticipation for impatience. Increased fidgeting, restless leg motion, and rapid eye saccades, long viewed as signals of irritation, appear just as frequently during moments of positive expectation. This means someone waiting for good news may show behavioral cues nearly identical to those of a person growing annoyed, leading observers to misjudge the entire social dynamic. Perhaps the most astonishing insight emerges from predictive coding theory. Your brain frequently guesses the emotion before you feel it, based on patterns learned from childhood environments. This means if you grew up around tension, your system may pre-label neutral bodily sensations as unease. If you grew up around enthusiasm, the same sensations may be tagged as curiosity. In both cases, the emotional state you believe you are experiencing may be nothing more than an inherited template your nervous system applies automatically long before conscious interpretation begins.